Hey everyone, it's John Corella, one of the co-creators and executive producer of Dance Moms. Usually after the podcast, I'll do the intro, but after the one with Frank Gatson, I needed to just kind of sit in it and relax in it. Afterwards, I went down a rabbit hole of all the things we talked about, but especially the Dreamgirls rabbit hole, Alvin Ailey, En Vogue, people that he's worked with, people that influenced him. And I want to thank him for that, for reminding me of these God-given, amazing, talented people who dance and perform. I'm sure you'll go down the Beyonce rabbit hole. We talk about that, about his relationship with her, how when he first met her and what that was like when she was a teenager, and their working relationship and relationship in general and love for each other. And we just talk about a lot of meaningful things that are going on right now in society, social issues, and as well as things in dance. So sit back, relax, and be reminded by Frank Gatson of just the beauty and love of dance. Please welcome Frank Gatson. Welcome everyone to Dance Dad with John Corella podcast. And I am here for the second or third time with the iconic Dance Dad of the Stars, original Beehive, Frank Gatson. This is me clapping, John? Frank. Say that again.
What's up, John?
How are you? What's up? The devil did not want us to speak.
No. I'm glad I'm still here and able to do it. You know.
I know, me too. I want everyone to hear your great, good advice that I've known of for many years. And I thank you so much for coming back and doing this again, because I wanted to just share your wisdom. I mean, right off the bat, and this is something you said, that you were the original Beehive, so to speak. And yes. My question is, after thinking and talking to you, was what was it? Because yes, you choreograph and creative direct, but what was it that you saw in Beyonce many years ago where you knew she had it?
Well, I met Beyonce in 1997, September. The reason I was asked to come there is because Camille York from Columbia Records knew I worked with En Vogue. And she told me about this new girl group named Destiny's Child. And so I went to Morelandis on Ventura and Vineland in September of 1997. And it was just something interesting about when I walked into rehearsal, I met the four girls, Toya, Latavia, Kelly, and Beyonce. But Beyonce, you could just tell that she was gifted in something very, very special. So after working with those girls for 4 hours that day, I came out of that rehearsal talking about, I just met the second coming of Michael Jackson. And people say, what does that mean? I mean, she's as gifted. She's magical. She was beautiful. She was just something that I think my gift is to see a gift. And I saw her gift immediately. So,
and there's people listening to this that want you to see their gift and that want many people to see their gift. So what is it that you look for in a dancer or a singer or a performer?
It's nothing that I look for. I think it's because I was with the group called Up With People. Up with people, you meet them wherever you go. Up with people, the best kind of folks you know. If more people were for people, all people everywhere, there'll be a lot less people to worry about and a lot more people who care. So Up With People was an organization that I joined in 1980. And we traveled around the world singing and dancing to build bridges of understanding between races and cultures. And we used to do the Super Bowl halftime show before the big stars started doing it. I think Up With People, we did the Super Bowl 3 times. That's big, okay? So it's something about traveling around the world, we lived with families. We didn't stay in hotels. Okay. So when you live with families who didn't speak English or something, your people skills become very keen. You have to read sign language. You have to read how they feel. So I think by traveling around the world with 3 years with other people, it made my people skills really keen. So when I meet somebody or I see somebody perform, something about how they feel is magical to me. So I think that's a gift. Some people might think my gift is to dance or to do what I've done all my life, but I think my gift is to see. So
I agree. I definitely agree, because you've worked with En Vogue, Toni Braxton, not to bring me into it, but you saw me at a young age and believed in me and always gave me good opportunities dancing on tour with Toni and Vogue. You did say,
let me help you out a little bit. I've helped put a lot of choreographers and dancers on. Danielle Polanco, Jamal Sims, Rosario McCoy, Fly Burton, Lavelle Smith, Travis Payne, Gigi Hunter has done things for me. I've always been able to, Robin Tasha Ford, Edgar. Like I can see a great dancers. I knew Rich and Tone. Rich and Tone are dancers that Lavelle and Travis discovered in Oakland. But my gift is to see, okay, they're talented. They had a whole nother style. And I saw Usher in Milwaukee. That's how I started working with Usher. I saw Usher's mom at Milwaukee. And I said, your son is amazing. So she hired me to work with Usher for You Make Me Wanna, You Remind Me, My Way. So I just think it's a gift. It has to be. And I'm still.
So what would you? You do. I know you do. You're still working with Brandy.
Now, Money Long, Brandy. En Vogue is still one of my clients. I think I'm getting ready to work back with Tyrese. Luke James and I did a wonderful film called I forget the name of it, but Shine was one of the songs we recorded. It's a lot of stuff going on. I have a girl group that I helped put together with Kelly Rowland called June's Diary. One of the girls just had a baby, so we're kind of reconfiguring the group and making sure that it works. I want to do movie musicals. Todd Sims has this incredible musical that we're working on. So the best is yet to come.
And we did skip a little bit because I know I was trying to get into the meat of it, but I do this in all the podcasts. I actually just interviewed Darius Hickman. He just got off of tour
with Beyonce.
Beyonce. So we did this too. So I'm going to bring you into the group of all the guests. So it's those 4 questions. How do you feel? Where do you feel it? What color is it? And what is it saying? And I'm going to start.
Okay.
So how do I feel? I feel anxious. Where do I feel it? I feel it in my heart. What color is it? It's white. And what is it saying? To breathe. Your turn. You're up.
You got to ask the questions because that's a lot of information.
Frank, you know what I love about you? You never change. You really don't. I love that. Like 20 years ago working with you and you sitting in front of the screen, I really feel that. And I love that about you. How do you feel?
I feel like I can see my gray hair.
How does that make you feel? Mad?
No, I'm not mad. I'm glad that I'm still here. Hell,
Grateful. Okay. How about grateful? Is that's a feeling?
Great. Yes.
Where do you feel it?
In my knees.
I love these answers. It's good. What color is it?
Blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
And what is it saying?
It's saying brown.
It's saying brown.
Okay.
Hey, we can't judge our feelings. So,
right.
Okay.
I was trying to be as honest as possible, and that's what came to mind, all those things. Okay.
What do you love about dance and about singers and singing and performing? What do you love about it?
I think musicians, dancers, and singers can change the world. It's the one thing that all people love. Someone who's handicapped will dance and love it. Someone who's racist will dance and love it. Someone who is, little, short, big, heavy set or whatever. They all love to dance. It's every party, every wedding, every backyard picnic, people are dancing. And I love songs that just touch the heart, like Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. Those kind of things. Diana Ross was so amazing with all that kind of stuff. How she just reached out and touched. And Michael Jackson's singing songs like Another Part of Me. En Vogue has a song called Part of Me. Brandy has a song called He Is. I just love that song. I love that song. Almost Doesn't Count. All of us have been in love, but almost doesn't count. Music can change the world. It can bring peace, and we need it.
We do need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you brought it up. You said, racist people can dance. So you brought that up. So I wanted to see, because I know you're iconic. You're an OG, a legend in the dance community and the music community. Do you feel it's changed enough for the dance community? We'll talk about dance. Where do you feel that as? Has that changed enough for the Black community and the brown community as far as racism in dance? Because I know I've felt it, even being Mexican.
A lot of isms in dance. I think there's racism. I think there's sexism. I think, no one would ever understand this, but I think in the hip hop days, a lot of times guy choreographers and guy dancers wouldn't get hired because I think some of the hip hop community is homophobic. So they would hire girls before they would hire boys. I think that the sexism of it is sometimes they want to make a guy who's a dancer be automatically gay. I think when I do a big job like Nike or something, sometimes I was the only token Black. You have like 20 people in a cast and then maybe one Black girl and one Black boy. So I guess that's like tokenism or something. So I think all that stuff still exists today, and I just want to say to the world, I don't care what your sexual orientation is. I don't care what color you are. Can you dance? That's how I look at it. Can you dance? And I think if you can dance, that's going to build bridges of understanding between people and races. Because I don't know, I don't like Black people, but as a dancing kid, there, maybe it helps. I don't know.
How can we change that more? Or is that a systematic thing that's deeper than dance?
With everything going on in politics right now, you thought it was going away. I'm old enough to remember the for colored only water fountains. I remember that in the Farmersville, Louisiana courthouse. I was there with my mom and I saw her go into a colored only bathroom. Also on my birth certificate, it says colored. Okay. And I got to see that for myself, to see the water fountain that was for colored people only, and to see the bathroom that was for colored people only. And it's just weird that they really thought that Black people were nasty. They needed their own bathrooms. You couldn't share bathrooms with them. That's pretty deep when you think about it. Or like, you had to, when we traveled to go south from Milwaukee, you had to find the Black only hotels. That's like the early 60s, 1965. I think it started changing probably after King died, when he was assassinated. So today it's kind of hidden, like I think the cops sometimes will use it because I guess everybody, what's the word? They assume that you're a bad kid because you're Black. Okay. Now, if a cop stops me, I'm yes, sirring and everything. Yes, sir. No, I'm sir. No, because I want to get home. And if they're wrong, then I can deal with them, with my mother and my lawyers and stuff like that. So young people have to be polite to cops so they don't get shot, because the wrong move can have you, dead. And we've seen that over and over again here in the United States. Sad. It's really sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
It's extremely sad.
Music and dance can bring people together, and it's like even the K-pop thing. It's just so I'm probably getting in trouble for saying this, but it's so amazing to me how they respect the soulful male group of Motown. because when I watch those K-pop groups, I think of Motown. That's the weirdest thing, because they have these soulful steps. They're killing it, and I hope to do something like that in America with some black male groups. I would love to do that with some talented kids like a young Travis Payne, a Chris Grant, those people who can really kill it, like you. Like, I don't know if you can sing, but if you were in a group, you could kill it, because I think
I was in a group for Jack in the Box. We were called the Meaty Cheesy Boys. And believe it or not, who was Babyface's first wife? What was her name? Tracy?
Tracy Edmonds, yes.
She contacted us. It was me, Wade Robson,
wow.
Brendan Henschel. We did a commercial. We were fake. Yeah. We were a fake boy group. And they called us and they wanted to make us into a group. And we were like, this is fake. We are Jack in the Box.
Wade, all of y'all are incredible dancers. Wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Back to what you were saying. And I think you met my dad in Paris for Toni Braxton. My parents flew out.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
My father was a millionaire by the time he was 30. This is in 1980.
Oh, wow.
4 as a Mexican man. And so recently,
so no,
I'm sorry.
Is that why your skin looked so good back in the day? No, I'm playing.
You know why it looks good? Yeah. I just finished a photo shoot for the podcast, so I'm a little painted right now.
Okay, got it. Okay, good. Okay.
But I recently asked him, he's 75 now. And I said, Dad, and I want to be clear with this. You're get it, but I'm going to be really I want to think out what I'm going to say. But yeah. I said to my dad, Dad, as a Mexican man, do you feel you would have made more money on your jobs as a contractor, even with these big companies, if you were a white man?
Wow.
And he said, John, growing up, we were rich, meaning that he was using that word. And he goes, if I was a white man, we would have been wealthy. Meaning he didn't make even though they gave him a lot of money for what he did, it wasn't to the caliber if he was a white man. So I want to ask you, as a Black choreographer, creative director, do you feel that same way too?
Hell yes. Because when I bought my first home in LA in 1997, let's go. I'm going to relate it back to the dance. The No 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 video. That's the first video that I did with Destiny's Child. No No No. And
yes, with John J.K.
Yeah. John. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was in it. And Courtney. What sod is? Sod is the grass that you lay down.
Yes.
And it grows really quick because it's already there. I remember on that set, Destiny's Child had all this grass. And I said, can I take it home? Because I had just bought a house, and I needed grass in my front yard. And I got the grass there and I started laying it down on the ground, and a neighbor walked by and said, sir, you live here in LA now. You're going to have to build a sprinkler system under the ground to keep that grass green. Because when I grew up in Milwaukee, we just had that sprinkler thing that just went around like that, and you lay it out there. So I was so humbled by the white people in my neighborhood having to pay HOA, Home Owners Association. I had a pool, I had trees, I had people at the garden stuff. And I just couldn't comprehend how these white neighbors of mine, that money was nothing to them, and they were young, like 33. It's just like something about Black folks. I can't talk about Mexican folks, but I know Black folks, our generations don't have that kind of money. I think that's why our generations need reparations. But those white families, they have passed that money down, and down, and they can afford HOA, the grass, the pool service, sometimes I know some people in Black neighborhoods don't take care of their homes, not because they're trifling. Maybe they just don't have the money to paint the house outside. So it's definitely I don't know what rich is yet. I know what all right is, but all of us people in show business are one check from being broke. That's just what it is,
Do you, and then we'll move on after this, but do you feel that racism still exists in the dance community?
I think because there are a lot of gay folks in the dance community, I think it is not as bad as in the regular community. Does that make sense? You know,
Yeah.
but I know West Hollywood had a little racism before this guy named Ivan Daniels went in there and kind of integrated some clubs. Ivan just passed away, a matter of fact. And I just found this information out. The clubs in West Hollywood would not let him rent the clubs. He had to take out more insurance when he brought black gay kids into those clubs. So I would consider that racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I had a meeting with the mayor regarding gays and racism in West Hollywood. I facilitated it with a black queer friend of mine and black lesbian, and I sat there and just connected them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew someone in the business, and they were marching for George Floyd, and they are a person of influence. And there's a point here, everyone, is they are a person who makes decisions that have a power position. And I said, it would be better if you took off that painting of your grandfather and the slaves in your living room. Maybe you should take that down and march. Don't keep that up on your wall. That makes me feel extremely uncomfortable when I'm walking in. So that's to show you that there's still a lot of, we've talked about this on other podcasts, that there's even someone like, go ahead, sorry.
You know, I don't know, you being Mexican American, you can feel racism. You can feel it when you walk into the room, especially with my keen people skills. Like I know sometimes I'll go to a hotel and the elevator door will open, and if I see a woman grab her purse, I don't get on the elevator. I just don't get on. People say, why don't you get on? Because I don't want to give her that. I want to show, no, I'm not getting on the elevator. I'm not a threat. So just go on up by yourself so you relax getting up to the 7th floor, whatever floor you're going to, So, but I know I'm built to feel it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? We can walk into the room and know.
This is what I say too. You are in these positions where you are, I mean, with Beyonce, with Brandy, with people of influence.
Right.
I always say, rather than you being at the table, Frank Gatson, you need to be in charge. People always say, well, we have them at the table.
Yeah, but I think I'm a problem to people. I'm too honest. I'm a threat. There's one time in a Super Bowl meeting, I got kicked out because I challenged the producers. Okay. I've been fired from a lot of artists because I told them the truth. Then they hired me back. So I got to learn to be a little more diplomatic to be at the tables. But I look at show business as you need to be honest. You need to be honest. You need to be honest. You shouldn't be fake. You shouldn't be licking people butt just because they're a star. They need to understand the real reason why they were whack on stage or the reason that their sound was messed up. It's like everybody in show business, they're sugarcoating stuff with the people they work for. Stars are human beings just like us. They should get respect from us and they should give us respect.
Were you honest with Beyonce?
Oh, yeah.
If you liked or didn't like something?
That's why she could handle it. She was a pro. There's footage of her calling me her twin. She and I could think it at the same time. Me and Brandy are like that. We could read the room, but Brandy has learned to accept my honesty, but Beyonce always accepted it. She never liked people not being truthful to her. She even told directors. Frank told me that we weren't going to have this prop. And then the director might say, well, we are. I said, they're still lying to you, Beyonce. And then Beyonce was like, I don't like people lying to me. So are we going to have that prop or not? And she was like a guy almost. And, never making it personal, never having no messy attitude about it. It was just a fact. Like I always say, this is not Church of God in Christ. This is not a high school talent show. We are really in show business. It's important that we try to do the best work we could ever do. Michael Jackson was like that. Beyonce stands for that. And I will always stand for that when I work with any artist I work with. I come into the room wanting excellence because my very first job was 1986 with Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. It doesn't get any bigger than that. A video shoot that's shot for 30 days, $10,000 each for a dancer. Come on. That was great.
It was great.
Yeah.
I remembered. I think I did that at a dance competition. when I was that age, my dance teacher. But everyone, make sure you go, because there's a lot of younger, sometimes people that listen to this. Go YouTube Smooth Criminal, and you'll be blown away by the whole
And it's in the
experience.
movie Moonwalker. Michael did a complete movie called Moonwalker. But Smooth Criminal was like a 10-minute number inside of Moonwalker. Incredible.
Yeah, it's funny that you said Beyonce said your twin, because I remember looking at a YouTube video and seeing her yell her name from the stage of Renaissance.
Oh yeah, you talking about when I was in Chicago and I went to the Renaissance tour, right?
Yeah, and I heard her yell, like it was like she got pulled out of being in a scene. She was just like, Frank, like is that you?
It was like the little girl came out. You know, just imagine. I met her in '97. Okay, she was 15 years old, and when she shouted from the air in the Soldier Field Arena, the Soldier Field Stadium, is that Frank? You know, I could immediately hear her like a little girl. And I looked up and I started cheesing like a little clown. I was just so impressed that she saw me in the midst of all those people down there, you know. And I think she saw me because one of the twins, Laurent, they jumped off stage to come give me dap. And she must have saw her. Why is my dancer jumping off the stage? And then she saw that it was me. You know, and then what's really great about that, 10 minutes before she said, was that Frank, Jay-Z said the same thing. Like he was in the pit and he saw Chris Grant standing next to me. And he says, is that Frank? He came and gave me love. It was just really great, man. I just imagine the two of them when they're sitting down laughing, they must be talking about my crazy ass. They have to, because I've said some crazy things. They know how passionate I am. They know I mean no harm. You know, Beyonce has told me many times, Frank, your passion is going to get you in trouble. And it does, you know, a lot of people don't hire me because they think that I'm trouble. I'm not trouble. I know I'm not trouble. I just want the greatest. I want history to be made. So they just don't get me. Everybody who's worked with me gets me. If they heard about me, they don't get me.
Well, and I think I told you this before, when I see her, I immediately think of you, that you were a big influence on her dancing, on her knowledge of dance. I think I saw her recently in an old video saying she wanted to take point class, and she did at Alvin Ailey. And in my head, I thought Frank must have set that up.
Yeah, we had a 6-month ballet intensive with Beyonce when she went solo, right before we did Crazy in Love. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I saw something too on your Instagram recently, and it said, let me look here. We wrote, technique always wins. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know how everybody's doing this oochie coochie, booty shaking dancing. It's like when we did the dancing Crazy in Love, it was the butt move. Beyonce didn't want to do that. You know, and we kept saying, oh, we're not going to do it. We kept saying, but we kept coming back to, And then I said, Beyonce, let's do it, but let's get trained girls who have technique to do it. They'll pull it up and make it look more classy. And so I feel like when you're got a little training, you know how to walk in your heels. I noticed Aisha on Instagram today, she was teaching people how to bevel, B-L-V-A. B-E-L-V-A. And a bevel always pulls you up, the way you squeeze, the way that you hold on. And training does that. You know, not that you're trying to be a ballet dancer, but if you just take a year of ballet and you can become a better commercial dancer.
Which Aisha was that?
Aisha Francis. She was one of Beyonce's original Crazy in Love girls. You know.
Now, when I first started working for you, because I was trained by people that wanted me to most likely go to the East Coast to dance, but I came to the West Coast.
Because the real dance.
Then I'm working.
That's what they
yes. So then I'm working with you, and you say the words like,
the working dancers are in LA though. Okay, let's keep it clear. You know, the dancers that make money and buy houses and homes. Go ahead.
And I was closer to home, and my boyfriend at the time lived here. So there was a lot that came in. But I'm working with you thinking, oh, it's going to be Toni Braxton. You know, I wouldn't think she would be a Paula Abdul type singer. Right. And then you come in and you say, Bevel, Bantma, you know, Jack Cole, Paula Abdul. You know all of these amazing dance. You love dance and you know the history of dance. Where did you learn all of this?
I mean, like, like I started late, but I took stupid dance classes in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I took some classes at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. But when I traveled with people for 3 years, I got to see all styles, And then when I quit Up With People to go to New York to dance, I noticed that I wasn't trained enough. So I would go to Alvin Ailey, I would go to the Broadway Dance Center, I would go to see Pepsi Bethel, like an old school Claude Thompson, and these kids and these teachers who were they had been there since the 50s. They would show me stuff. I knew Gregory Hines. I knew Maurice Hines, Maurice Hines just passed away. Amazing that he would be right next to me at the Broadway Dance Center with Frank Hatchett taking class, this older man. And he was killing it. And you just saw all this stuff. I knew of Debbie Allen. I worked for Debbie Allen. She was always working you hard, and I don't know. I love it. I love Fred Astaire. I love Gene Kelly. I love the Nicholas Brothers. I remember seeing a show in Broadway, not in Broadway. I remember seeing a show in Reno, Nevada called Hooray Hollywood Hooray. It had like 100 dancers in it. I've seen it all. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. West Side Story. Come on.
I know, but I mean, I'm even, you're saying, like you say, Claude Thompson. I'm like, whoa, I remember, wasn't Claude even in Elvis Presley's jail?
He used to choreograph for Elvis Presley.
Yeah. So do you feel, I was trained that way. So I actually thank my teachers because they taught us. I already came into LA knowing this stuff. Right. Do you feel dancers know these people now?
Hell no. Some people don't even know Alvin Ailey. But I think what it is, everybody's caught up in just this sexualized dancing right now. And they're caught up in just getting to the combination right now in class. Not everybody, but some people. And it's just not enough shared. And I think, once again, people like myself, you said it earlier, and I'm glad that you talked about it. I need to be at the table when it comes to dance. Okay. So that we can change the culture. I was telling somebody from Dancer Alliance the other day, they're talking about these new fees and stuff. I said, yeah, but before the kids can make these new fees, hopefully they can dance. If you got great dancers, these fees won't be a problem. But if you got okay dancers, it's like, I think you have to I wish dancers had an audition to be a professional. I don't know if that makes sense, but I wish there was.
Isn't there maybe to go with their agents? Their agents should do that.
The agents are lame. They just hire you when you get a job. Shit. That's just what they do. I remember when I came here.
It's the money. It's the money thing.
It's not that. It's just that I just feel like we have to step up the dance world. Shout out to the Ariana girl in the West Side Story new movie with Steven Spielberg. That girl made dance rise. Shout out to Chicago, the musical. That musical made dance rise. Those two things that I can think of right now, even Anthony Thompson and them with the Rhythm Nation stuff, that was a moment. Thriller was a moment. Humbly Single Ladies was a moment. We need to change. We can't just have the same old same thing. I love Rihanna's Super Bowl. I consider that the best Super Bowl ever because of how the dance was so clean, so innovative, and it was now. And they danced in the air. I get in trouble for saying that, but that's my opinion. I find
it interesting. You're honest with yourself and other people because you think it's better than the one that you did for Beyonce. Yeah. So that shows you how honest you are.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes when we do our own work, we get caught up in it. And what's so sad when we do our own work, yes, we're biased to it. Yes, we're like nepotistic about it. I hope that makes sense. Like nepotism is families. But anyway, it's
your baby.
Yeah, it's your baby. But for me, it was innovative. I never thought to put the dance in the air when I did my Super Bowl. Right away, that wins because of that. It was in the air. In that big space, I was only on the football field.
But on your defense, I bet you 10 years ago, you were not able to do that.
I think you were. Oh, no doubt about
it. You're like, no. I just didn't think of it.
I just didn't think of it. And also, I just feel like I've done a lot of great things in my life, but the final judge is the fans. It's the audience. And And when everybody's doing that dance the next day, that's when you know it's successful. Does that make sense? I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, doing the little back thing with the hand.
Crazy in Love was one of those moments. Crazy in Love was a moment. We knew that was a great video. But the Super Bowl, no one repeated our Super Bowl, but everybody repeated Rihanna's Super Bowl the next day. You know, you saw old Granny Mama's doing the Super Bowl for Rihanna. So our Super Bowl for Beyonce movement was Crazy in Love, and then probably Single Ladies. But Rihanna's big moment with dance was Super Bowl. And I'm really anxious to see what Usher's going to do. I hope he brings it, because like right now, he's in that K-pop solo act. I can't think of his name. Probably some of Usher's most incredible work. He's dancing his butt off in it. You got to check it out.
I assumed you still worked with him.
No, I worked with Usher last in, I forget, 2010 maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I.
That's why I kind of say you're the dance dad to the stars.
I text Usher. I said, make sure you kill the Super Bowl, and he says he plans to. That's a good answer, right?
Well, you remind me of a dance dad to the stars, because you kind of like, and you develop them, you teach them about dance, you teach them how to perform, and then they kind of go on and fly.
They fire me.
What?
They fire me. They terminate me because I said something I shouldn't have said. Okay.
Well, they're still texting you.
But at least they've learned how not to take it personal.
Yeah.
You know, that's I commend that. I say to any dancer in this business, never take it personal when you're being taught. Now, if you're disrespected while you're eating dinner or just hanging out, that's a no-no. But when we're in those rooms trying to create something that's going to change history, there's a lot of tension in there. And I think choreographers and creative people get really passionate about what they're doing, and something may come out the wrong way. And you need to check that choreographer on that if it came out the wrong way, but don't take it personal. Because I think I'm a coach. I'm pushing you to be the greatest person ever, the greatest performer ever. And to push you is kind of like sports. You don't see coaches going like, it's okay, you missed a free throw, okay? Just go sit down, please. You know, why you missed that free throw? You know, I think dance is like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to work with Marguerite a lot. And then I came to you, and you don't miss the free throw.
Right.
So she's coming to you, I never got any of that energy, because I think I just knew, don't miss the free throw, John, you know.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Marguerite, so she, but I'm sure they all still have a lot of
like strict ballet world, though, didn't she?
Say that again. Say that again.
Came from a strict ballet world, right? She was a ballet dancer, wasn't she?
I don't know. I mean, I always think of her because of fame, but I do believe she trained in ballet first.
Yeah. I feel like that's where that strict stuff came from with her mentality.
But I'm sure they all have a lot of love for you, Usher, Beyonce, calling you out in the middle of this huge arena, and they know what you've done for them and helped them.
Yeah, but I have love for all of them. It's, I just want to go on record. It's never personal. It never is. I think in show business, you have to have a thick skin. And I always try to explain this to people, but if we're sitting at the dinner table and I say something wrong, you should throw the water on me or something, but that, because that's social, that's life. But when we're in those rooms trying to create something and we're under the pressure of making it great, you shouldn't be taking stuff personal. That's just me.
What do you think? She's kind of been her name has been on the podcast a lot because she's a former competitive dancer. You might have not known this, but what do you think of Tate McRae?
I don't know.
She has a new song out called Greedy. She was just on SNL. She's from, she used to, like I said, she's a competitive dancer. I would see her at competitions. She's considered the next Britney Spears. So my whole point is.
Yeah, I got it. I know now.
Yeah. Tate, if you're listening, use Frank Gatson. He will make you the next Britney Spears.
Thank you for the plug.
But I'm serious, though. That's the thing where I would
love to get my hands on a lot of people. I would love to definitely get back with Rihanna. I had Rihanna for SOS, and unfaithful, and we split ways back then. But I would love to get my hands back on her because I have something to prove there. People don't know who she is. I know who she is. Okay, and she was like a little daughter to me. I miss her, and I would love to work with her again. I would love to get my hands on Megan Thee Stallion. You ain't got to shake your ass all the time.
I just saw her live at Pride. She was incredible.
Yeah, but she's got more in her. They forget that Sid Charisse was Megan before Megan was Megan. like once again, that technique. Megan has technique. Shout out to Danae, who's doing a great job. I'm not trying to take your job, Danae. I just want to help you make Megan a bigger star. I would love to make a super group. I would love to put Chloe, Namani, Tinashe, Justine Skye, and I'm forgetting her name. She has a hit out right now. Victoria Monet. That's my Supergirl group, and they need to do it for 1 year only. But people would freak out to see those 5 girls together.
You will do it. I already know that you got too much.
Management and their people wouldn't want to come together. I have a saying: share the light, sparkle brighter. If those 5 girls would share their light for 1 year, they would go to the moon and beyond.
I love that. Share the light. I'm writing that down. Sparkle brighter.
That's the name of my book, if I ever wrote one. Share the light, sparkle brighter. You're sharing your light with me. I'm sharing my light with you, and we're going to sparkle bright from this interview.
We are. We are, and we are right now. I did want to ask, because you did sneak on a little bit on the Dance Mom competition show, AUDC. I remember reaching out to you. Yeah. What was your experience like that, choreographing for those little competitive kids?
One thing that I did that I hate doing, I don't like people in the room when I'm teaching, so there was too many eyes on me when I was teaching, because, it's better for me to just close the door and just have the people in the room that are learning what they're supposed to learn. It was, you could, the young people were really nice. The young girls and guys were nice, but the parents were more competitive than kids to me. That's what it felt like, and it felt, you could feel that little tension, like my daughter's better than your daughter, but it was a great experience. I wish I could do something like that with the Black kids of the world, because what I love about the white families of the world is that dance intensive, be it a class or a school in their neighborhood, that's keeping those young kids out of trouble. And, and that's why I'm going back to Milwaukee to do some stuff like that, where I can get the little young Black girls to take ballet. I can get the young guys to take dance, because kids in Milwaukee, they need things to do. And I think it's amazing how people have given up on the young people in Milwaukee, but I think dance and the arts can save their lives.
That's super meaningful, Frank. I love that. What's the name of the center?
Yeah, right now, it's called the Intergenerational Performing Arts and Athletics Center. And, and I want to bring all my connections in, from Jay-Z to Beyonce to Brandy to Tyrese to Usher, and kind of just share their light with my city to help me finish building this building. Right now, I have the building right now, but we want to renovate it.
When it's open, I'd love to come and teach technique.
For sure. No doubt about it.
I would love to.
I'm calling on
I'll be there. You worked with, didn't Asia Ray, do you remember her, little Asia Ray?
Yeah, she was on the set of Brandy's daughter's video, Sarah. She's their friends, and she's not a little girl anymore. And she's an influencer. Look like, she's got a lot of followers, and it was great to see her. I just saw her about November, I think.
Did she remember you?
Oh, every time I've seen her, she runs to me. I think Anthony Burrell had her in the Mariah Christmas show one year. I saw her on that stage in New York at the Beacon Theater, I think. So she's never forgotten me. Her mother hasn't either. Her mother and I, on the set of Sarai, we sat in the car and talked a minute. So,
if you ever, Christy Ray, if you ever see her again, tell her hello. what I was meaning was, and you don't have to say their names, these singers that you teach, when you get them young, it sounds like you all get these singers that now, when you get them young, do they ever come in with dance
I
parent?
was with Destiny's Childs when they were 15, but Matthew, the manager, he would leave the room and he trusted me. He would never get in my way. He respected my creativity. And I think that I taught him some things about show business too, like picking a good production manager. So it was great to work with Matthew.
I really want you to work with Tate McRae. After, I'm going to text you her. You've seen it, but she's the next big pop star because she can dance, Frank. She's got legs and botmas, and right. I want her to do that.
But when you say that, once again, I want to talk about the K-pop people. The K-pop people are really trained too. Why can't we have great white girl groups, black girl groups, red girl groups, Mexican, like our kids, we got to stop dealing with just the oochie coochie step.
I don't know what K-pop is though. That's why I'm missing you on that.
Yes. You know who BTS is?
Yeah. And you're telling me they can dance technically?
Yes. They're trained from 5 until they're ready to go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it's big. You need to go down that wormhole. I'll send you some videos. Those kids are like 5 Chris Grants at once, 5 Travis Paynes at once, 5 John Corellas at once, dancing and singing with the best mics, the best makeup, the best hair, the best wardrobe. And see, and in the K-pop, they don't do music videos. They do performance videos. Every one of their videos is on the level of Smooth Criminal meets Rhythm Nation. They don't do no video with some girls just walking down the street being lonely with some flowers. They dance full out. And that's their goal when they get together, is to do great performance videos. BTS, what's that? The BTS Army there. One time I posted something where I said I wanted to make a black male group to show BTS what real soul is. Okay. And I wasn't being ugly or nothing. I was just saying, black people are soulful. That army came from my throat, still cut. They like,
how do you this is, I think for me and for in general, I know you said sports, but outside of sports, I've been in those rooms, maybe not the Super Bowl, but I've been in rooms at networks or movie studios when it's intense. How do you keep your voice, your opinion, and be so bold to say it when you know it's going to get you kicked out of the room?
Because we all going to die. Shit. I wish I could go back to high school knowing everything I know now. And it's so amazing how when you're in high school, somebody said, you got a zit, or your nose is big, or whatever. I would go like, so what? You're going to die. Life is too special to let someone else predict what you need to say. Okay, you need to be gracious. You need to be nice, but be honest about this thing called show business. Don't be, that's why there's so much mediocrity. Well, what has blown your mind lately in show business? Like, think about it like that. You know why nothing has blown your mind lately? It's because people are not really in it like they should be in it. They're sugarcoating it. The producers are trying to keep some of the money. They're not trying to spend the money on the production. That's why you miss people like Michael Jackson. But Beyonce is still doing a great show. When you go see the Renaissance, you've never seen anything like that in your life. I didn't go to Taylor Swift's show, but it seems like it was big and fabulous. I hear the girl SZA has a great show. But yet you got to be, honesty is the word that I got to keep using. And they got to know that you're not coming from a bad place where you're being honest. You're just coming from a passionate place. And I have a saying, take this one too. This is another saying. If everybody checks their ego when they come into a meeting about a movie or a production network, if you check your ego at the door, when the whole room agrees, if they check their ego, that's when it's right. Okay, but for some reason, everybody wants to be the one who came up with the concept. No, Satan himself can come up with the concept. I don't want to go to hell. Satan, that's really cool what you want us to do, but I'm not going to hell with you, Satan. Okay, you understand? So creativity comes from all kinds of places, But where it really comes from is from passionate people who love it.
Who love it and who, thank you for that. I needed to hear that from myself too. I'm sure a lot of people did too. But I know for me, when I get still in those meetings and I don't jump in with them all, the idea comes rather than being in my head. So be still and the quiet, it comes. It's
right.
But that was good.
But it's magical though. What is right is magical. You know, it's like, why is it that I can remember how my kindergarten blanket smelled? Like it was a white blanket and the teacher gave me a magic marker to write my name on it. That was so magical to me when I went to kindergarten. I don't know why. And I've compared the magical moments in show business to that moment. That's weird, right? But
yeah, because you're so present. I mean, you're dealing with presence. You're not in your head. You didn't say, I thought this. You're like, you're dealing with the smell, a feeling, a look, a touch.
Magic.
You know.
Yeah. It's magic.
And you're a man of faith. And I know that you know that I believe that comes from spirit. Right. You know, when I watch Beyonce, I know she's a human being if I were to see her at a restaurant, but when she's on stage, she's anointed but you know, she is something bigger than her is working through her.
She's all those things you just said. But the most valuable thing that people miss about her, she just gets it. You know, she knows, she understands, I got to do the work. She understands, I got to have the best dancer on stage next to me. She understands, I have to have the greatest sound. She understands, I got to do the work. She understands.
You said something before too, that she was, what did you say about En Vogue? She's all 4 in 1.
Oh yeah. Like, that's so funny. You remember that. Like, to me, the reason that I was asked to work with Destiny Child was because they saw my work with En Vogue. And Beyonce, I equipped her with all 4 En Vogue girls, you know, like the classiness of Terry Ellis, the pageantry of Cindy Herron, the soulfulness of Dawn, and the feisty part of Dawn, the soulful, you know, driven Maxine Robinson. You know, Beyonce's all 4 of those girls in one. Isn't that interesting?
That's a really good. I mean, when you said it, I understood it. That's why I was like, you're right. And I love that
that's her listening. That's her studying. That's her saying, look at that step Lavelle just did, Frank. No one's doing it like him. If we're not going to do it like him, why are we doing it? You know, because you know how Lavelle would do a step with fire, you know, and she wanted that step to be just like that. With Chris Grant, her choreographer now, who has my job, you know, he's incredible. You know, Chris Grant should have helped the people with the Michael Jackson musical. I don't know if you saw me. I went and saw that Sunday, and Chris Grant.
I haven't seen it. How was it?
It's good, but they need that Michael Jackson-ism with the rest of the cast. You understand?
Do they have anybody who worked with Michael in it?
Well, they have Toni Rich, who worked with the lead of Michael. But for me, I'll go on record right now. When Michael passed away, remember Michael Jackson personally picked Chris Grant to be on This Is It tour, right? And I think that Michael Jackson left his soul of dance in Chris Grant. That's how incredible Chris Grant is. Matter of fact, you need to post this video on this interview so people can see I'm not lying about that. Like, we did this.
Send it to me and I will.
We did this big special in Cardiff where Chris Grant got to do a 8-minute number that Katherine Jackson produced, but the world never saw it because she couldn't use the music. The music rights were off. Something went wrong. But I still have a copy of the video. And it's incredible. So when I saw the Michael Jackson musical at the Pantages the other day, I thought it was brilliant. I think the people were talented, the cast was talented, the story was amazing, but it missed that Michael Jackson moment. I don't understand why these choreographers do Michael Jackson's choreography and they change the choreography. Like, the choreography is public domain, use it. Now, you can do some things different, but you got to do Thriller like it is. You know, you got to get the isms of it. Chris Grant in 2011 taught a whole high school, I can show you that footage too, where he taught all these young kids age 13 to 18. They were incredible as the kids in Thriller because he knows the isms. You understand what I mean by the ism?
The ism. No, tell me what do you mean by that?
every fingernail, the style, how you know how when people try to imitate choreography, they don't really get it right. You know, like the vibe you need to be in when you're doing Thriller. Chris understands that mess. Like when Michael was dying, Chris was on the phone with me, and we did not know Michael was dying. Chris was crying because the night before he was in rehearsal with Michael Jackson. He was just so emotional about how incredible Michael Jackson was. So at that moment, when Chris was crying, I truly believe Michael transferred his soul of dance to Chris Grant on that phone. That's deep, right? And I mean that.
That is deep. That is deep.
And
it reminds me, when you say isms, it reminds me of Fosse, where Fosse was very intricate with every little finger, elbow.
And Michael's the same way. But Michael is a hybrid of Fosse, Jackie Wilson, James Brown, the Nicholas brothers. You know, he took Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly. He took all those things and that was brilliant in the MJ musical, where they showed Michael looking at Fosse and Gene Kelly and people like that, you know, in his mind, but he still didn't do it right, because if you look at Thriller, you can tell that's Fosse.
What were some of the Black dancers, performers that influenced Michael?
Jackie Wilson, I said. Nicholas brothers.
Jackie Wilson.
You know, Nicholas brothers for sure. But James Brown, come on.
Well, I would think James Brown would do more Prince. I never thought of Michael Jackson.
You got it all mixed up. James Brown is the originator. Okay. So.
No, I know. No, I'm saying, I think I would thought Prince was more influenced by James Brown. I wouldn't think Michael Jackson was influenced.
Once again, Michael took a little bit from everybody. He's kind of like me. Like when I'm choreographing, I look at all styles. You know, like when you sing Single Ladies, that's sweet. You know, that Single Ladies is Bob Fosse's wife, Gwen Verdon. You know, people don't know this. When I did My Love and Never Gonna Get It, Gwen Verdon called me on my phone and said, I love the video that you just did with En Vogue. That call was so special to me.
Are you serious? Gwen Verdon called you and told you that?
On my apartment phone over there on Bluffside in Violin. I'll never forget it. I wish I had that conversation taped, you know, but that would have been rude. You know,
wow.
She called me just from seeing En Vogue Never Gonna Get It video. She knew that we had watched Hey Big Spender. That's why I think she called.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I wish I remember. I've never.
I got a lot.
I have more of that with people. Go ahead.
I have a lot of great memories with people who, you know, like even Luther Vandross. I went to meet with him one time, and he gave me the best compliment I ever had in my life. He says, every chromosome of you exudes creativity. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Prince did tell me I was a good dancer.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I was randomly, he tapped me on my back and I turned around and we were at his Paisley Park and it was him in his big.
I danced for Prince one time. We were all naked on stage. I don't know if you remember that. MTV Awards when he had the yellow.
Oh, you did Get Off?
He had the yellow pants with his butt out.
You were in that number?
I'm in that number.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't seen that with who's that dancer who has Lori Warner's in it, right?
I don't know. Lori Warner was Diamond and Pearl, yeah. But us dancers were like, I knew I had a G-string on. I was painted from head to toe, you know. And I got a few shots.
Who choreographed that?
I don't know why. I feel like Tina Landon and Sean Cheeseman had something to do with that. I forget. I think it was them.
I still have never seen you dance, Frank.
Oh, really?
No. That's the thing. But I've seen you do pas de bourrées when you were teaching us what to do and things. I have a
nice clip with En Vogue before I started working with him. The year before I started working with him, Keith Young hired me to be Cindy's partner. Me and Edgar did something with Lisa Fisher that's out there on the internet. I'll show you some stuff. And I did a viral video. I went to a class last year, and no one knew I was there. It was the playground, and the guy was teaching Deja Vu. Brandon, shout out to Brandon, and they made me do it by myself. The little stupid video went viral. You know, it was funny. Have you seen that video clip?
I haven't, but if you want to send it to me, I'll post it with this.
Yeah, it was really weird. I was so nervous, you know, because I didn't go to dance. I went to class to see if I could still dance. I was being thankful It was the weekend before Thanksgiving. And I was driving down Melrose and I just went into a class. And what's her name? Who owns the studio?
Robin Anton.
Robin. She saw me and she says, do they know you're back here? And I said, I don't want them to know, and then some way it got up there to the teacher. The teacher made me do the combination by myself. You'll see it.
Bold. Yeah. I love you, but you did it. You did do it.
It was nerve-wracking because all those little young kids, they had it down. I had the last part down because it was some of the choreography we had done for Beyonce and Deja Vu. So that's why.
Speaking of those young dancers, what advice do you have for them that want to dance for you, a Frank Gatson, a Chris Grant, a Beyonce, a Brandy, a Tate McRae? What advice do you have for dancers these days?
I take good classes like that Carlton Lee production guy I told you about last time. He has a great class because he teaches technique. He teaches the commercialism of what dance should be. He's a real solid teacher. And I went to talk to those kids one day, and I was so impressed because most classes that I go see, it seems like they do 2 minutes of a warm up, and then all of a sudden they're dancing, and then the teachers are too busy trying to show off that they can dance, and that's fine, But yet you're there to teach, and the kids are there to learn. So I just think you can study. I know ballet is not as popular as the commercial world. I feel like we as dancers, we have to get it back to the 1950s. In the 1950s, everybody knew how to sing, dance, and act. And dancers were valuable then. Dancers used to even get this thing. They used to get this thing called, the directors used to get this thing called the director of choreography. We don't even have a choreography category in the Oscars. We don't have a choreography category in the BET Awards. Thank God MTV has it. Thank God the Emmys have it. But choreography needs to get more respect. And I think the way we're going to get more respect is our dancers have to become better. And our choreographers need to be more versatile.
The dance dad in me is coming out. How many MTV awards do you have?
Oh, yeah. I have. Let me say this in my humble voice. I'm the most nominated choreographer in MTV history. I have 11 nominations and I have 6 wins.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Everyone listening, Frank has been, he's always been so good to me. He hired me without auditioning. I have never auditioned for you, Frank, just so you know. But I've done. You saw me dance, right, and you liked that I had technique, but that's what I loved about Frank is you're good, you're in. It wasn't this game.
No, it's not that. This is what Frank noticed. You had a conservative hairdo. You danced like a man. You were good looking. Those things plus technique made you get the job. Because I had an issue with guys when their hair moved. I didn't mind them having long hair, but I wanted them to plant it down because I didn't want it to move. And I had a problem with hiring short guys because most of the artists I worked with were tall. Like Toni Braxton was pretty short. But you got to work with some of the tall artists too, because you were like tall. So I had other requirements, you have to, once again.
But what I'm saying is you gave me some of my best memories of dancing,
You were a strong dancer. Come on.
Yeah.
I forget where I saw you dance. I don't know was it in a class?
I think it was Claude Thompson's class.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I used to take from Claude all the time.
Yeah. I miss Claude.
And everyone too, this is some good advice. We were on tour and he was setting it. You probably don't remember this. You were setting Tony's tour in Europe and there was an empty space and she was on the piano and you were trying to do something with lights, I remember. And I remember I went up to you and I said, well, I can do a solo while she's playing the piano. And you were like, okay, go try it. And then I tried it and it was in.
Yeah.
So all it takes is just asking sometimes.
Yeah. But you had the ability to keep that audience, that's something that I learned from Michael. If you're going to be on someone's stage, whoever you let have a solo or a singing solo or a dance solo, they have to be able to keep that audience. And I knew you would be able to keep that audience because of your great lines that you had.
Well, thank you for that. We're gonna finish on that because that makes me feel good. And then but I do have those 4. We've talked about this before. Because again, you've heard these before, but I want them to hear them before I'm going to ask you those questions. So this is a rapid fire. Just go off of
Let me get
who
ready.
you think of. Favorite dancer?
Chris Grant.
Favorite choreographer?
Paula Abdul. And then maybe
I told someone today you said that, and they were shocked that you said Paula Abdul, but they knew you were right.
Yeah. Well, that's my opinion. She did some incredible stuff. Okay.
Favorite dance movie?
West Side Story.
The new one or the other one, the older one?
The older one is better, but I like the new one too. Yeah.
Okay.
As far as dance movement. Okay.
Favorite Broadway show?
Dreamgirls / The Wiz. The original Wiz in 1980 and the original Dreamgirls in 1985 or whatever. No, 1976, the original Wiz. The one with Stephanie Mills and Hidden Battle, damn it. That one. The one that George Faison did and Jeffrey Holder, and the Dreamgirls that Michael Bennett and Michael Peters did. Incredible.
Okay. And Cheryl Lee Ralph was in that, right?
Yeah, she was Dina. Yes. I saw it 29 times.
You saw it how many?
29 times. That's where a lot of my style comes from seeing the original Dreamgirls. That's when I learned how to make girls pull up, because Michael Peters had Laurel and Dina and Michelle. Loretta Devine played Laurel. I loved it. I would go all the time. Back then, you could buy a ticket for $10. It was called standing room tickets. And I would go lean on that banister in the back and watch over and over. And I would trip at Jennifer Holliday making the audience stand up every night. It was incredible. And the guys danced like guys, and they were jumping, and they were doing jetés, and they were jumping in the air. And the monkeys and the Wiz danced like guys, and they were jumping, and they were amazing. And I just loved that mess. I loved it.
Okay. Do you feel they'll ever redo Dreamgirls again on Broadway?
I'm going to do it if I can.
I want you to.
Yeah, I want to do it really bad, because
you should.
But one thing that I might do that could be like it is do the En Vogue story. Because remember,
that's true too.
Dreamgirls was loosely based on the Supremes, and I want to do something called En Vogue's musical, loosely based on En Vogue, but call it Hold On. That
so because you talked about Dreamgirls, and I know that soundtrack, the Broadway show, believe it or not. What's your favorite song on that soundtrack?
I love Step Into the Bad Side. I love We Are Family. I love One Night Only. I love all those songs. I love all of them. Yeah. They do when they were "You lie, you've never been so thin," because that confrontation they had that felt like an opera. Incredible. So it was a soulful opera. I loved it.
And I knew about Dreamgirls because where I trained, God rest his soul, my dance teacher, he passed away of AIDS later on. But I mean, I was 12 years old dancing to Step Into the Bad Side. So,
yeah, but that's so weird. When Dreamgirls, that cast of Dreamgirls dancers, a lot of them died of that awful disease, Jennifer and Cheryl, that's why Cheryl Ralph today, she has a Simply Divas event that donates to HIV and stuff like that, because she lost a lot of dancers the year that she was Dina.
Yeah, it was very sad. Some amazing people, talented people that we all knew passed.
A lot of beautiful people.
Say that again?
A lot of beautiful people that passed away. People that were important to the culture.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are some of their names?
Keith McDaniels is a beautiful dancer that I know who died of.
Tony Spizak was my teacher's name.
I know, it's a lot.
Michael Peters.
Yeah, I don't know if Michael Bennett passed of it, but I just, those are people that I was close to that I know. And my godfather passed of AIDS. Yeah.
So we're saying their names just because they did amazing things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dwayne was in the show business. He was a politician, but he took me to New Orleans on my first plane ride ever. That's why I will always remember that. That's weird. I had my little suit on.
I can see it, Frank. All right. So what's your favorite style of dance?
Oh, I like all dance. I love A-Lee, so that would be modern. I love...
you only get one.
Oh, I love Orishnikov doing ballet. How about that?
Hey, that's a good one. And I know this answer already, but I'm excited for everyone to hear this. What's the boldest thing you've done? One of.
I was in an agent's office and I saw Paula Abdul's number on the desk and I memorized it. And I went home and called Paula Abdul and say, I'm coming to your audition today. My name is Frank Gatson. And she was pretty mad, but she hired me when she met me at the audition. But I memorized her number from looking on the agent's desk when I was in a meeting with this agent. I memorized it and I called her and she thought that some other dancers had given me the number. But it's funny, she booked me for the video. I think it was Steve Winwood, Roll With It, Baby. And she was really caught up in her first single. But that's probably pretty bold to take that girl's number and then just call, please look at me when I come to the audition. It's crazy.
That's very bold. And hey, you just asked and you got it. And hopefully I'm trying to get Paula to do this podcast. So if it happens, I'm sure I might ask her about that.
She should remember. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Frank. And I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to see you doing more of what you do.
Thank you. And I got a lot more to do. I want to bring back the movie musical. That's my goal.
Okay. We'll be waiting. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Peace.
Thank you so much for listening to Dance Dad with John Corella. Thank you to everyone at Hivecast for all that you do. And if this episode meant something to you, please share it and subscribe. Also, you can follow Dance Dad with John Corella on all platforms. But most importantly, remember to be bold and be fierce.